Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Nick Beardsley, and this is the Dear Untitled podcast, episode 48. Today's guest is the band Friend Circle, specifically Zac Johnson, who sat down to discuss the band's upcoming album release, JRSY FRSH, coming out May 30th, 2025, and their musical influences. We also talked about starting the Crusty Wrapper Records label and chat about how time is really an illusion and merely a concept, and so much more. This is a fun conversation once again, and it was thrilling to reconnect. Sit tight and listen up to my chat with Friend Circle on episode 48. How you been, man?
I've been good, very busy. How are you?
Also the same, really. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. The full-time work is just wearing,
yeah.
you know.
You got that in band, and it's like, holy shit,
Yeah,
so much going
exactly.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like podcasts and I can't even imagine like writing, recording and planning your campaigns. I mean, I've helped bands with it before and it's a lot, but just
yeah.
to be the creative is tough.
It's constant, man. It's like every day, right after work, and then some.
Yeah.
Sacrificing sleep, which isn't always good, but I try to keep on top of that now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, the sleep definitely helps balance things, obviously.
for sure.
Yeah. You and I know each other, obviously.
Yes.
Couple years, Philly area and but for those of you who do not know Friend Circle, um I'm just going to ask if you could go ahead and introduce yourself and maybe just a brief overview of the band. We'll dig into some more, but just a quick highlight.
So Friend Circle is a pop punk band. We're from the South Jersey, Philly area, and my name is Zach. We're a three-piece. If you like bands like Blink-182 and Green Day, then you'll definitely like us because that's kind of the biggest inspiration, I would say.
That is absolutely the vibe. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was as I was putting this stuff together, I was like, man, I have probably bopped internet noise religiously since it dropped. And it's like, it's one of those things that's always like an earworm and really like I had found you guys just before that, I think, or thereabouts.
Mhm.
Um and obviously you had another album in between. What was that? That was, hold on, let me give it,
Suburban Dictionary.
Suburban Dictionary, that's right. So, which was also stellar. And then you're maturing into what we've heard from JRSY FRSH so far, which I am very excited about. So, yeah, I was going to kind of ask, and you said it right there. I mean, you take after some of the most iconic pop punk bands out there. Um, what is currently bumping in your headphones lately, though? Like, what kind of gets you going outside of those?
Outside of those, man, wish I could pull up my Spotify right now because I always like have a brain fart whenever I'm asked this question. But
Okay,
like,
fair enough.
I'm trying to think.
What'd you
I feel
listen
like
to
normally I
today?
would say I didn't listen to anything today.
Ooh, I've been there.
Like I usually listen on the way to work or like I'm listening to like even just the album. But like today I was just so tired. I was like, I don't feel like listening to anything. I just need to be alone with my thoughts today.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of what I was listening to before that. Damn. There is a new song by this band Riley that I like.
Riley. I feel like I've heard of them.
Yeah, it's like called 777, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a cool song, but other than that, I
That's
don't
the
know.
brainworm. Okay.
It is, it is.
That's sick. And obviously with your influences, I mean, what do you think was the point when you heard them that you were like, hell yeah, this is kind of like the music that I want to do and like model Friend Circle after to an extent?
Um, I feel like it's just music that's changed my life
Yeah.
over the course of like me just growing up, but like it's funny because today I was even thinking about it, and I think for the next thing, I want to go in a whole new direction because I just want to try different shit. And I feel like we're at the age where trying new things is going to be so important.
Yeah.
Like I know it's cool that like people will say, "Oh, you guys sound like this band or this band." It's like I want to sound like our own thing eventually. So
Yeah.
that's like where my mentality is entirely. Like I'm really excited for this record. I'm like so stoked with a lot of the songs that are on it, and like just the overall like sound. I think you will get a taste of that like early 2000s pop punk, but like after this, I want to dive in a whole new direction.
Yeah. That's exciting because like I mean, I've been, I guess you would say, keeping up with Blink. I mean, they're not as on the playlist as much as they have been in prior years. But I would say just listening to you guys, I mean, I feel like you found your own unique pocket so far. Like, yeah, people can be like, "Oh yeah, cool, you sound like Blink," but like, I don't think that's like necessarily like you're a ripoff, a direct ripoff. Like, I could put you side by side and not tell the difference, kind of thing. I really feel like as a listener and a fan that I've seen you guys definitely grow over the years, both into the sound and then kind of out of the sound. Like, so you're already heading in a direction that I enjoy. So to hear you say I want to go a different way is very exciting.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. And it's not like I don't know what different means yet. Like I don't know how far outside of what we do fairly well with confidence now. Like I wanna like build on it, of course, but like in a different way. Like change up the process. Like I feel like the process has definitely evolved since like the internet noise era, like you were mentioning. But at the same time, we're starting to like I don't ever want to fall into a pattern where this is how we do every record. And like
Yeah.
I've, between Suburban Dictionary and now, there was changes in the dynamic between the band, and now I want to start diving into like the overall process instead of me sitting down with a guitar and making most of the song like for what it is at surface level. I want to go and try to work with other people and maybe just change what sounds I know that are embedded in my brain. Like an acoustic guitar and me have like the tightest relationship, and I want to change it with other instruments. Like I want to get out and try different instruments and different things. I want to experiment musically,
Yeah.
I guess is all I'm trying to say. So I'm excited to do that.
That'll be cool. That'll be neat. I mean, coming
Oh
in
yeah.
with like, I don't know, a cello friend circle or a trumpet
Trumpets.
friend circle. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, yeah.
Saxophones and
I mean,
even just
throwback
like
to
sitting
like,
behind a piano.
yeah, throwback to like a oh man, why am I blanking on the genre? Like a Five Iron Frenzy or like a
I've never heard of that band.
no man. Who the one ska.
Oh,
Yeah,
ska.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Throw it back to
I don't
like
know.
ska, trombone,
Love,
trumpet, brass. You know.
yeah, I love ska for like the memes, and like I
Yeah.
do like some ska music because like I want to also feel like a 13-year-old who just got mozzarella sticks.
Yeah.
Like I, I, I vibe with that so hard. Like that is who I feel like I am
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. But I'm not like wearing the fedora and
You're right.
wearing like a tight suit.
Yet. Yet. It could be the
Not yet. You
direction.
never know. It could
Don't
be the
count it
next
out.
record.
Yeah. Could be yeah, it could be the next record. Um well, so before we dive kind of like into the next record, I think we should kind of first congratulate you on launching Crusty Wrapper Records.
Yes, sir.
That is exciting to see
Thank you.
another kind of you know, DIY project. Just, hey, we're going to do this, and obviously there's a belief that you want to share your experience and that, help other bands in their growth and their journey. So tell us about like what went into that.
Um, I want to work with other bands after this album cycle because I'm swamped with it. But like it was
Right.
originally made, yeah, it was originally made for Friend Circle, just because I feel like this is what we do already. We operate as our own label. When we make decisions. Like if I'm not making decisions, I'm passing it by the other guys, and we're kind of coordinating in this instance. And like I've always seen like be your own label, and then like the rest will come to you.
Hmm.
Um, so that's kind of like the mentality I've embraced with this latest record. And then you know I hear so many good bands, and like I have friends in other bands that I'm like, these are like you guys are so good. Like I would love to work with them. And like to what instance, and, it depends on every band professionally, but if I can help or
Yeah.
like contribute to get people's music out that I believe in personally, I would love to embrace that. And that's like that's just it for me. Like if I believe in the music, then that's step one, and then I'll figure the rest out later.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely a whole realm of legalities that you're probably halfway familiar with, but also probably a new land of just adventure that you're like, oh my god, what's the
Oh,
next
it's so
move?
boring. It's so boring. Like the legal stuff and like having to learn it and like like the whole contract thing. I'm like, fuck, like that's something I would have to learn and like do and then
Yeah.
figure everything else out. But I'm like, I'll figure it out as we go. And
Yeah.
I don't like. I'm not. I can be business minded, but not in that aspect. So maybe I'll get some outside help.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's similar with like Cabin One design that my buddy and I are working on, and it's like setting up the LLC. We're like, man, yeah, we got this. We got the, like you said, the agreements, the contracts. All right, I guess
Yeah.
we got to put this hat on and not the fun design hat on,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you do it for the love of it. And honestly, I mean, like, I don't know necessarily how it works, but I think the kind of most, to some extent, you make the label, build the name, grow that. But like in that case, it's just easy for you then to be like a distribution hub for a lot of, especially that local scene, and really be a stepping stone out. I mean, obviously there's a lot of great um, ventures in that area doing similar, but it's
Mhm.
cool that you can also start to give back after this album releases.
Exactly. And it's like you said, like distribution and everything. Like it's a whole other part of that to look into because there's so many different ways to distribute music, and the main thing is like concern how we consume music too.
Yeah.
And it's just like trying to figure all that out at the same time. So it's a lot.
Yeah. Now, like, is there, I guess in your head, is there something that in your whole career in or journey in friend circle, is there something that kind of drove you and you were like, hey, this is something that I definitely want to do outside of the creative process? Like a
Um,
specific, like, I don't want to get screwed by a label, I want to do my own thing, or is it just I want to help?
it was like just do what makes sense to you, even if it doesn't make sense like to the
Yeah.
rest of the world, kind of thing. And I remember like I was having a conversation with one of my friends one day, like, oh, like what would you do if you won the lottery? And I remember thinking like, oh, cool, I could like do this, like pay my bills,
Yeah.
like the band would be in such a good spot, like everything would be funded. And then I was like, well, like then I feel like the struggle would be gone, and I feel like it would be so easy.
Hmm.
And a part of me hated that, and I was like, I would probably start a record label just to like help other artists that I believed in. And that's when I kind of realized like I feel like my passion is just working with music entirely. While I may not be like I'm not like musically theory or like classically trained, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Um, I understand music theory to an extent, but not in the sense of like I guess a lot of people that do know it would, but I understand it in my own way.
Yeah.
And I would want to contribute what I know and do the same thing, just like work with music, work with musicians, work with like-minded people.
Yeah. And now, how, I mean, is there a thought to an approach or even um, or am I trying to get with this? Like are there lessons you've learned in terms of how to present yourself and how to market this avenue through the time? Obviously, you started Friend Circle in what, 2017 or so?
Yeah, that was like 2015, and then our
2015.
first.
Yeah.
yeah, our first record we launched, we didn't know what the fuck we were doing. So like,
Well, right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's
yeah,
been, 7 years of what the hell happened to social media, 10 years even. Like
yeah.
you've seen a lot. Is there like kind of an attack you can say, hey, we're going in with this with Friend Circle, we're going to try it and kind of test it on the band and hope it helps others?
I feel like yeah, that's everything we've done with the
Yeah.
band is like we test out a new way of making content, or we test out a new sound, or we test this out. Like every day, pretty much, I'm testing out what works on TikTok or what works here and there, and like if it's just constant learning. If something sticks, then it sticks. So like, I guess to answer your question, to relate it to other bands, yeah, I would love to help in any way I can, and like in the grand scheme of things, I don't know everything, but I would love to give what I can and even try to problem solve with other artists. And if I
Yeah.
like really believe in their music, I can get behind that with passion and
Yeah.
maybe give them more direction in what I see, like whether it's creative or if they need like, maybe like better branding or maybe they should make this style of content or maybe I feel like this music would do well with this demographic.
Yeah. No.
And I've got a lot of books to read. I've got like a list of books that I want to like read just to learn more. But
Right. Right.
just kind of following my heart, and not to sound cliche and corny, but that's basically what it is.
That's awesome. In true DIY fashion, that's just what it is. Yeah. I'm right
Yeah.
there with you. I mean, the
Oh
blog
yeah.
is the blog is always a mix of, and the podcast here. It's like, well, got to teach myself video now. Got to teach myself some more audio. Got to teach like what's, yeah, I don't know. Am I putting out shorts, clips? Like what works? Who's it hitting?
You
So
try everything and see
yeah,
what sticks. And sometimes, like in my personal experience, I take some time to step away because if something isn't working, I need to figure out why. And then
yeah,
it's either it's either like a direction change that is necessary, or I was doing something not correct. But
yeah.
optimization is one of my favorite words lately. And that's
Both on the accounting books and elsewhere. Yeah,
hell yeah.
yeah. Um, it's funny because I worked with an artist in like 2021, and I was like, you know what? This is the time where everyone's kind of like ripping off the OnlyFans thing, like only pans, and like everyone had all those memes and everything. So we did
Mhm.
an only band name for the artist, and had like a whole like weird meetup. I don't know, like on one of their video shoots, they just did like a side thing where, the vocalist walked in, he's like, hey guys, and just drops the towel kind of deal. It was a fun little,
I,
like, let's see what sticks. And
I
nobody
actually love
cares.
that.
Yeah. I guess in some way it channeled a little bit of the Blink, running naked around the block kind of deal. So,
Right. Stuff we live for.
yeah,
I'm just gonna start something called Only Friends, and it'll just be like
dude,
wholesome pictures of us, like wholesome like
that
friend circle
is
pictures,
really, yeah, that's great, honestly.
and like the captions will be like misleading, like we had like a threesome, but it's just like us three playing guitar together or
Right.
something.
Yeah. Something raunchy. Dude, that's brilliant. I understand why you're an entrepreneur right now.
Only Friends.
Only friends. That sounds like a dating app gone wrong now that I think more into that. But
It actually does. It's like
yeah.
Christian Mingle, the other side of it.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about you have 3 singles out, which
Yeah.
Late Nights, Nice Guy, and Dream Guest. Um, all are catchy as hell.
Thank you.
Let's talk about Dream Guest, because you saw that tweet, Dream Guest on my podcast. Oh my god. Um,
I did.
I loved that. Like, what specifically inspired that? Did someone like also say that to you at one point?
No, I remember I couldn't stop seeing like the viral videos of JRSY, and I woke up one day and I was like, "What if this song was actually good?" Because I listened to the song, and I'm like, "I don't really like it," and that's my own personal opinion,
Of
but it
course.
does suck. It sucks. I listened to the song and I was like, well, maybe like just change this. And I changed the lyrics after the first part of the chorus, and then it like all happened in like 20 minutes. And I was freaking out about it. I was like, oh my God, we need to record this now. And, of course, we didn't get it out until like 8 months later.
Yeah.
But everything takes time. But I was super stoked on it in the moment. I wrote that song like last summer, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be so fun. And I think it's still fun. Like I
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite songs. Like it's got that like Bowling for Soupy riff from like 1985 in it, and that just like resonated with everything that I love about pop punk music. And I was like, fuck yeah,
Yeah.
I can really get behind this song.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one thing I think if you just like sit back and listen to your entire discography is just that there's always kind of like you're just kind of vibing, it's like a little rock your head kind of sit in the back of the room or whatever you're doing. You can just put it on and it's very like casual. Like it's not really aggressive punk.
Yeah,
It's just like chill.
it is, and I've heard that before. Like either like I've heard people say your band's vibey, and while I love that, I want people to move to it, and
Yeah.
that's the direction change I was talking about.
Okay. All right. I see.
I
I see.
wanna I wanna get more
A
aggressive,
little bit more punch to
and
it. Yeah.
yeah, like naturally, we're all just chill dudes making music. Like
Yeah.
so, that's just what feels natural. But also, I want to get aggressive. I want to make shit that makes people move a little more.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I may, we all want to be famous right now. So,
There you go.
yeah. Um let's let's rewind quickly and get back to kind of like just before really that campaign, cuz like going into that whole album release of Internet Noise, you hit
Hmm.
the pandemic and then you're just like, you know, shoot, we're dropping music. But then I feel
Yeah,
like Famous went like skyrocketed.
it
Like
did.
let's talk about like I guess that roller coaster that you probably went through.
Um. So yeah, famous. We dropped at the end of 2019, and we had all these plans as a band for the record. Everything was set to come out in May. We were supposed to do a 7-day tour, and that got shut down because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Which it was weird how like slow it happened, but then it happened all at once. Like I remember seeing on the news, oh, there's this pandemic, like, and I was just like, okay, it's not going to affect us. And then boom, it affected us. And
6 years later.
yeah, dude, it fucking gutted me. I was like,
Yeah.
this was set to be like a big launch for us. And there's parts of that record because we had another guitar player at the time too that I feel like are just different and that hit different
Hmm.
sonically.
Yeah.
And that's something I want to get back to again with a direction change. But,
Interesting.
yeah, just touching base on that again, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, 6 years later, like time doesn't even process the same way, I feel like,
Yeah.
after the pandemic.
Yeah. It feels like an eternity. So, like, am I correct in kind of saying like that was really where Friend Circle took like the next step into being like, I don't know. In my head, I know I listen to you guys a lot. You're like on my playlist pretty routinely, and obviously I keep up with that, the friends back home kind of deal. But
Yeah.
like, do you feel that it was about that time, even through the pandemic hitting, that you were just like, wow, we're becoming something like this is like legit?
Yeah, also, like, it was another step during the pandemic, but even before that, like, we started making plans for Internet Noise in 2018. Well, at the beginning of 2019, because at the end of 2018, we put out an EP. And that was where we realized that we weren't progressing the way we wanted to. And I remember having like long, uh, like think tank sessions with Aaron about how to grow the band. We were doing our research, we're trying to figure out how to do it. And of course, this has all changed since then.
Oh yeah, it changes
So,
every
yeah, yeah.
5 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So everything we learned, it's like totally irrelevant. But that's what we did even beforehand. So this is like 2 years of work that went into the internet noise era, and I don't think it wasn't a total failure, and I'm not going to blame the pandemic for all of it. It
No.
just didn't help.
Yeah. Yeah. But do you feel like that was still like a precipice to start some momentum, like some additional like, hey, this is it's just starting the snowball of this journey of like I feel like a little more confident maybe in the music, or like this is we can evaluate like I just need to get this music out and let's keep rolling with it.
Yeah, yeah, and it was that way even during Suburban Dictionary, 'cause we were still coming out of the pandemic's effects,
Yeah.
and a lot of those songs were written during the pandemic.
Exactly. Yeah, that's where I was going next. Yeah.
Yeah, and like songs like "Complications" is one of our most popular, and I don't think that song would have taken shape the way it did had it not been for that pandemic. So it's a give and take
Yeah.
type of situation.
It's a resilience, I would say. Like honestly, like I'm trying to think when I paused this podcast. It was probably April of 2020, I think. I don't think it
Mm.
was 21. Um, it may have been,
So
but I feel like I kept talking to artists, and it's like it's hard to talk to artists and be like, oh, so how are you doing during the pandemic? And everyone's like, oh, just sitting at home. And then you see
yeah,
so many bands that just are no longer bands because of the pandemic. So the fact that you guys are just like, hey, we're still viewing this as positive for as tumultuous as this is, you know?
yeah, and like it wasn't all good. Like we had like lineup changes, of course, during the pandemic, and I feel like
Yeah,
that did affect us as well because we
yeah,
all have separate personal lives outside of here,
of course, yeah,
and just like like you said with the podcast, that's one of the things that we lost during the pandemic is like that human connectivity.
yeah.
And I feel like, well, I mean, like it grew in other areas.
Hmm.
Like Zoom became a thing apparently, and
Yeah,
like fuck Zoom. I can't stand Zoom. Every time I get a Zoom call, I want to shoot
that's
myself
why I'm here,
basically.
man. This is I no Zoom. Come on, man.
When we were mixing this record, we did a lot of it virtually through Zoom, and
Oh
we
wow.
just me and Tyler, our producer, were like, we're not going to pay for this. So like every like half hour, it just shuts down for like 9 minutes. And our joke was like, all right, we're going to play Freebird, and then it'll be ready by the time like that song's over.
Man,
But yeah,
yeah. Yeah, we try to I try to live stream on Twitch with that, and it's like, oh yeah, bring the artists on. Well, what are we gonna use? Zoom? Okay, hold on. It's gonna time out. We'll invite you back. Don't worry. Like, yeah, so many business meetings. Just hold on. We'll bring you back.
I
Got it.
cannot stand Zoom. If Zoom ever wants to sponsor us, I'm never going to accept it.
Yeah, yeah. And
I'll
RIP to
totally do
Skype,
it.
dude. My original
Yeah, yeah.
podcasts were on Skype, and it's
Stop,
like
really?
dead serious. Some of the first couple were Skype, and I actually like remember like I vividly remember there was one band who was like Skype. It's like 2019, dude. Yeah, Skype. Like it still works. It was
I can't even
wild.
remember the last time I used it.
I know. It's shutting down this spring too.
Is it?
Apparently so. It's sad. It's another era, just like AIM
It's
and
like Vine. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So in terms of kind of like sitting down after Suburban Dictionary, then, um, what did you have any initial thoughts coming into JRSY Fresh of like, hey, this just flat out didn't work, or this is like it's okay, but I want to do this better. Like gut reaction, was there
Um,
anything like that came out?
I think a lot of it was wanting to go back to that vibey style and build on it. Like going into JRSY Fresh, besides like what I was going through personally that went into the record, I wanted everything to sound as catchy and as anthemic and massive as possible. So there was a lot of like just picturing how would this translate if we ever played in front of a sizable amount of people.
Yeah.
And that was something that I told the guys when we were demoing, like like when we were still like writing and fine tuning parts, what would this sound like in front of 20,000 people? And that's just like for the mentality. Like, I'm not expecting to play in front of that many people.
Yet.
If it happens, great. I would love.
Yeah.
I would. I'd be floating.
Yeah.
But what would this sound like in front of this size of people, and how would it translate? And that's the new mentality I'm trying to carry over into even the future. But that's Jersey Fresh.
Yeah.
That was the mentality. It was
Yeah.
just building, and that's every project I could say. Like whether it commercially succeeds or not, I'm learning something,
Yeah.
even if it's what not to do. And that's the mentality I try to carry into every project.
Yeah. It's that up and grind and like, well, if this sticks, great. I mean, it's almost genuinely that mentality for, I suppose, most things in this industry of like, well, let's try it. What's the worst that can happen? People hate it, or it doesn't go anywhere. It's like at least my creative juice in that moment is expressed, and I've tried it.
Exactly. And people will love the what's the word? Um eccentricness of it. There are
Yeah.
people out there that will vibe with it just because it's a little different than
Yeah.
what we usually do, or maybe it's a little off what we usually do.
Yeah.
And I try to keep that in mind too and not beat myself up for it, because I'll listen back and be like, oh, I don't know if I would do that this way now. But letting the art stand for what it was at the time, for the reasons that I did at the time, I'm cool with that. I can make peace with that.
Yeah. Well, that makes a lot of sense too, because like really, it may not be your immediate like note for note brand sound, right? But like that could sneak into like a Spotify algorithm even and catch someone's ear. And then like that little part that you're like, that was all right, could be someone's
Ex-
favorite like thing, and bam.
I was on TikTok live the other day and somebody said they were listening to Joyride, which is one of the older songs off of Him University from like 2017. And they were like,
Yeah.
this is the song that got me into you guys. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you listening to that trash? But it's what worked.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful
Yeah.
that somebody somewhere can appreciate it and it turns them on to new stuff, then I'm happy.
Yeah. Do you are you familiar with the band Amora and Billy Z from Lansdale?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um yeah, I've heard of them, and
Yeah.
I know that they're a pop punk band, and I keep seeing
Yeah,
them on social
I
media.
guess you would call them pop punk at this point. Yeah. Um they're definitely in the same vein, but I talked to them early on when I started. Forget their first album name, but they're just like, yeah, it's such trash. Like, we didn't even know what a fucking click track was. Like, who the fuck plays that shit? That sounds so bad. It's funny to hear like artists just look back and be like, man, it was so cringe, or something like that.
True, true DIY ethics be like, what's a click track?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What's a
It's just,
metronome?
yeah, let's record it in the bedroom and have great audio. Yeah.
There's a part of me that loves that though. Like
Yeah.
I mean, obviously play to a click track if you need it, and definitely do it. But I've debated just putting out songs that we've demoed and mixing them as best as I can, and then sending them to someone else to mix. Like
Yeah.
there's something special about DIY ethos. Like you'll hear stuff from demos on this record all day, just because I spent more time. Like I might have spent one night just honing in on this guitar sound, and then we tried to recreate it in the studio in like 30 minutes, and it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And then I like it's definitely happened on some of these songs, and I'll tell Tyler, "Can we just fucking use the demo?" Like just and he'll be like, "Yeah, it's like a little out of tune here, but we'll fix it." And then, it ends up working out like Nice Guy, for
Yeah.
example. The transition riff out of chorus 1 into verse 2. The bleep, bam, that's the demo. That is all the demo.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I tried to redo it and it didn't fucking work. And I was like, this isn't what I want it to sound like. I want it to sound kind of shitty. And sometimes when it sounds kind of shitty, it sounds a little more human.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's like in podcast realm, you leave a little ums and ahs in there. It's like if you don't, it sounds too AI almost. Like someone's
Like the AI
actually,
videos.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Joe
God.
Rogan speaking.
Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
even him.
You're right.
Let's talk about aliens or some shit.
Oh man, not looking forward to that day. Um, uh, it reminds me of Mark Hoppus actually talking about he did a it was on Spotify for the longest time, and I dug it up on YouTube, but he did a track by track of neighborhoods. You might be familiar with it, but he was just talking about like how it was made, and he's like, dude, whatever it was, I forget whether it was a drum or something. He's like, there's like a rattle that was in the studio ceiling that like everything was just cranked so loud. We kept it in the recording, and it was like it just worked. Like
I think I know what you're talking
that's
about. Yeah.
what that has stuck with me probably since like 2012 or something when it all came out. But like
Yeah.
I love
Great album,
every
by the way.
aspect. Oh yeah, yeah. I love every aspect of artists giving that perspective, and probably why I do this. Honestly, it's just like I love nerding out and hearing those little quirks of exactly what you said. Like it's the demo. I couldn't get that sound back, so that's
Mhm.
the demo.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that commentary version in a long time, but as soon
It's
as you
been
mentioned, I remember. I forget what song it is, but I remember
yeah,
hearing that.
yeah. And I was like, damn, that just it's I don't know, it's the nuances that you don't necessarily think about in the environment of like, hold on, pick that up. Like let's mic that up.
Mhm.
Or like it's the you know, candid moments that just happen and it's like, whoa, that's magic.
That that's the important part of music, and that's what terrifies me sometimes about completely erasing a demo because when I write and when I record in the moment, like the demo is the first physical recording of the song, and if I lose any of that, or I guess not lose because I'll always have it, but like if I can't recreate how it sounded good to me in that first initial pass through or that first like take where I got it down right, I know I'll just be chasing that and it's gonna lose something every time. So
Yeah.
like the song, there's a song called Ghosted on the album. It's not a single, it'll drop when the album comes out, but the intro is a long, ethereal sounding, like 1975 esque,
Ooh.
like 40-second intro. I guess you could compare it to like Not Now, even, how it has that long
Okay.
intro. That's all from the demo. And at this point of like learning, I'm fine with like telling Tyler, we're just gonna use this. Like I'm not gonna try to recreate this because it's like reversed tracks. It's tracks that I couldn't even tell you. There's like 4 or 5 different guitar tracks that I just fucked with and blended till it sounded right.
Yeah. And that's just where your brain wanted it to be. And, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes the initial just wheedling and everything on the guitar to like playing around is like, yeah, that was it. Like that scratched the itch and now it's out, but hold on, hang on to that.
Scratch the itch is a good way to put it.
As yeah, as a creative, it's like when it finally you try and try so hard, whatever it may be you're working on, and it's like, wait, right there, that felt great. That's what it needs to
Tried
be.
so
Yeah.
hard and got so far.
In the end, all of it mattered.
Doesn't he? All mattered.
My
Lincoln
camera
Park,
hates me.
huh? Lincoln Park. Can we talk about Lincoln Park? It's one of my favorite bands I never
Sure.
talked about.
Let's talk about Linkin
Um,
Park because I know. I mean, I think I've taken the latest album for a spin or two, and it was
I only
obviously
know 2 songs,
okay.
but I'm gonna listen to it.
Yeah,
What did you think? What did you think of the new album?
you. I think as a music enjoyer, it is a great album.
I like the new singer.
Yeah,
I do.
yeah.
And there's a lot of
It
mixed
works.
emotions. Yeah.
I think that's what's the hardest about the whole dialogue is because going into that, it's like I want it. I want to hear Chester, and
Of course.
obviously it's like because what is Linkin Park without that voice? I just
Right.
it's such a weird step back separation that I internally know I had to face, but I like it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. how they were gonna come back because I know it was rumored, and I'm sure it took a long time. Well, it did take a long time, of course, but, like, how do you come back, Chester Bennington?
Yeah.
Hybrid Theory and, admittedly, and I hate saying this, Hybrid Theory, of course, great album,
Yeah.
but that's, like, the one I know the best, and then there's even songs on, like, Meteora that I don't know, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know why I haven't listened to it, I just haven't, but,
Yeah.
like, I know it's, like, their one of their biggest records, but, like, I was such a big Hybrid Theory fan, and then at some point growing up, I was like, "I don't care,"
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Well,
I hate that because I love Linkin Park.
it's always interesting too because like you artists like that got like placements on like the Tony Hawk skating games or any sports games, and like that was formative, like different placements of like even thinking of like different songs following each other in line. You're like, wait, that played after this. Yeah, you could probably like think back and be like, well, that lineup is like how my playlist is now, just because I loved that. Um,
Oh, are you talking about how, like, a video game or whatever,
yeah, like
it'll have, like, a playlist of
yeah,
different songs within that.
yeah, exactly.
Y
So
Yeah,
like to
that's so crazy to think about, I didn't even realize that.
yeah, so like the nostalgic factor of like I love this album, and then you're tied to that, at least associating my in my head, it's similar association to, hey, this these three artists played back to back to back on the video game, or you only heard this song with like Meteora maybe, and maybe that stuck and you just never bothered to sit down and listen to the album, or you were exploring something else, or it's just weird how life does it, yet you could probably listen back and go word for word on any of those and be like, yeah, this is it.
I remember having the Hybrid Theory CD and the CD player, like the Walkman CD player,
Yep.
so I knew that whole album. Meteora I just heard on the radio
Oh, that's
because
fair.
I never had the CD.
Yeah.
And that's just growing up when I did, like, not having that direct access unless you wanna ruin the family's computer with LimeWire, which I'm totally guilty of.
Of course.
Totally guilty.
Yeah. I
I
don't
think yeah, I
know.
think we all are.
Yeah. I don't know what music creative right now hadn't. Yeah. Man,
Bring back LimeWire. LimeWire 2028.
20. You know what? Why not? You,
Just a
you
LimeWire screen
you wouldn't download a car, but I would.
for, like, those terrible anti-marijuana ads, like,
Exactly that. Yeah. Um. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So Linkin Park. I enjoy how they've still been. Who was I? Did they play Sonic Temple? Maybe. I'm trying to remember what I just saw them on socials playing. Obviously, all of their shows are massive, but they were playing a
mm,
festival, and it just makes you feel like really good to see them still have that momentum even with the change. Because obviously, social media is kind of its own bubble. You see all the negativity, and you see obviously that travels further than the positivity.
yep,
And it's really good for all of them. So I'm to just be making music again.
exactly, and I don't how can you be such a hater to the point where you're not even stoked for Linkin Park?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, if you were ever a fan of Linkin Park, are you really gonna gatekeep Chester Bennington even in his death? Like,
right.
I'm just excited to go see them again,
Yeah.
or for the first time actually, because I never got to see them
Yep.
before Chester died. So that's the one thing I'm excited about. Like, keeping the music going, I feel is noble in
Yeah.
its own
It
passions.
it's noble, and I'm sure you can hard relate to this of like it's almost no, I'm not even going to say almost. It is unfair in my opinion for, even though you might not enjoy the direction it heads, right? Like of any project, it could be Linkin Park, it could be something else, to keep away and kind of gatekeep that artist out of their creative brain, to be like, no, you
Yeah,
can't create anything unless it's what I'd like. Like that's
yeah,
just
fuck
such
all
a
that.
strange concept to me.
Yeah, fuck all that. 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 Yeah, fuck all that.
Yeah.
Um, one of Adam's one of the things that Adam has said over the years that always stuck with me is like, as a musician, make art and make music as much as you can. It doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter with who, but if it makes sense at the time, then just let that flow out of you, because otherwise it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I always love that. That's always stuck with me over the years.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like sitting down and, starting demos. You might not have a thought. You might just be picking around and like, hold on, let me grab that.
Yeah.
And then JRSY
You know,
FRSH was born.
fuck yeah. 2 years later.
Yeah. So I've actually talked to a couple people so far, since kind of reviving this, and it's such an odd concept to me, and I would love to hear your thoughts on writing an album. Is obviously a process, because sometimes songs take 8 months, or different pieces coming together just take some time to meld in, and then you're like, wait, I want to make an album. But like, to hear bands now, it's always intriguing to me to hear artists say, well, we wrote this 2 years ago and we've been waiting to get it out, or we've been recording and doing that whole process to get it out. Does that feel odd to you or normal to you, of like, there's a almost, as a fan, what feels like a lag to get music out, even though it's brand new for us, but you've been hearing it for so long?
Yeah, I relate to that all too well. Everything takes so much time. Mixes, the writing process, even getting a song structure down can take years.
Yeah.
Our song Late Night started to take shape in 2020, and we are just now releasing it in 2025. It's been 5 years,
Yeah.
and the song has changed in a lot of ways. Like, I was playing on acoustic, I was on TikTok Live, I was playing it, and I played a part that we omitted from the song. And I didn't realize, I was like, oh, the rewrite does not have this pre-chorus, but it's still like ingrained in my brain from probably the 100 times that I've played it like that.
Yeah.
Everything takes so long. So I hope fans, and I'm sure like people that really are up to date with their music and how the process works, completely understand. But
Yeah.
like, I'll write about something and maybe somebody can say, oh, is this about that? It's like, no, the song is like 2 years old.
Yeah.
Like, you're just hearing it now. I didn't write this like 2 weeks ago,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
You might kind of know what I talk about on social media, but it's definitely, an associate. Obviously, everyone can
it,
come up with their own.
yeah. And, whatever you can take from it, great.
Yeah.
If it works, if it applies to a certain thing,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what art's for. You take out of it what you want.
Correct.
But,
Correct.
it's
Yeah.
been so, yeah, I resonate highly with that statement.
Do you think that, like, I guess I kind of focusing on that, do you feel that the industry is kind of like on just a general lag? Like, it's a weird concept to think that, like, I don't know, 3 years from now we'll see the next music that's being written in someone's bedroom right now. Like, it, in my brain, it's like, especially with the hyper get content out, go go go. Obviously, there's a shit ton of work in that to prepare something, so that takes time beforehand, and it feels new to fans. But realistically, if you're really just cranking music out, like, someone right now is writing the next big hit 3 years from now. It's just it's almost a very delayed concept.
Yeah, and I've never really thought of it like that. Like, I guess a good example for this year would be like Capel Roan and Sabrina Carpenter.
That's true.
Like, when were those songs being written? I've never really thought of that. Like, a couple
Yeah.
years ago,
Yeah.
maybe last year. I don't know, but
And
it's an interesting
negotiating,
thought.
whether it's negotiating deals or it's like setting up, just, hey, here's the campaign and we're just going to throw it. Someone's innovating and someone's leading the next charge. I mean, it's like, let's go
It
back
might
to Vine even, of like, you never
it
know what's going to go viral.
right, and it may be an accelerated process. Actually, I would bet money it's an accelerated process for artists that have the resources behind them, that have
True.
entire teams on a payroll, as
True.
opposed to a band like us where everything has to have its own dedicated time. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna write a song and then try to order merch for the tour at the same time. That's something we have to separate. Now, if we could work on music full time and then have, a whole team take care of all that stuff, sure.
Yeah.
Then maybe the music will come out faster.
Yeah.
I would love for that to happen actually.
I mean, I think that's the dream. It seems to
That is
be the
definitely the dream.
consensus. Yeah. Like, let me just write, man.
Yeah.
Now your perspective on singles versus albums, singles, EPs, albums. Obviously, 2015, it was like, dude, record an album. Like that's still, if I'm recalling correctly and not senile yet, uh, I'm pretty sure like that was still kind of the vibe. And then things hit 18, 19, and it's just like single, single, single. Like this is the new vibe. TikTok,
Mhm.
a quick turnaround. Like, what are your thoughts on, or like, how do you feel about just what's a best release, and where did Friend Circle come into the moment that it's like albums are what we want?
I think albums are easier for us to structure our lives around. We used to tour, and by tour I mean play shows within like, 100-mile radius. We used to
Yeah.
play shows, record, and do everything at once. And it got to a period where it was too much for the band to handle. So we decided, God, probably 4 or 5 years ago now, we're just gonna focus on writing, focus on recording, and then we're gonna tour, and then we're gonna repeat.
Yeah.
And if there's a single that pops up at any point in between, we can assess it and go on. But this is the best way to prevent us from burning out, is to space everything, give everything the respected space that it deserves and the respected energy that it deserves.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a sustainable model for us at all. And can that change over time? Yeah, but and I love like vinyls, like vinyl records. Like
Yeah.
doing an album and having a vinyl is the coolest thing. And
Yep.
like when somebody likes your music enough to buy a vinyl, they're a true fan.
Yep. That is.
So that's another thing. It's
And then I go
vinyls are in.
broke.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
See, you can. So I have vinyls like down here on the floor that it's just like I have in frames, and like I have more down by the record
Thousands of
player.
dollars worth of music. It's
It's
so cool though.
Yeah, I know. I love the tactile. I mean, Dream Shade right here. Like I talked to them a couple years back, and I was like, man, if I get a vinyl, can you guys sign it? And they're like, well, won't all be together for a while. I don't care. Like it's just the
Right.
coolest thing to be like the artist who made this. Like
I
it
think I
just,
see a plus 44 up there as well.
you bet you do.
Oh yeah.
And then Boxcar
Ooh, the
Racer
pink
over
one.
here. If I
Bo-
could do this in the
There's
camera.
Boston.
Yeah.
Ooh. I'm trying to make some of
Polar
these
Bear
out.
Club,
Is that
Citizen.
the Wonder Years I see?
It
I've given you
is.
all and now nothing.
Yep.
Good man.
Devil Wears Prada. Owl City. Yeah.
Very nice.
Chariot
Very nice.
from First to Last. Oh, Transit.
Transit. Yeah.
Can't go wrong there.
Love that.
Drugs down here. Oh, Knuckle Puck.
Nice.
Love them.
Yeah, vinyls are awesome. We can all agree.
Yeah.
And they're an investment in my eyes. Like someone that's got a good vinyl collection, it's like respect.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I understand like cuts are probably crap on the other end for artists, honestly, just to like produce. But I feel like it's a really strong way, and that I feel like I can support the music and also get the physical of like, yes, next to a shirt, obviously, and go birds.
Yeah, go birds. The first time I held a vinyl I actually loved, it was Angels and Airwaves, I
Yeah.
Empire. And I looked at the art and like the lyric sheet and I was like, this is so fucking sick.
Well, so that,
And I think it
yeah,
good.
I mean that's an art form that it's just like opening even the CD case, the jewel case, and it's like you get to unfold like something that someone's just crafted. I miss that, and that's I
Yeah.
think why I love this is because it's a display of the artistic on top of the artistic.
I hope CDs come back in the same fashion.
Yeah,
And now that you say that, jewel cases are so cool.
yeah,
Like like a clear plastic jewel case. Yeah, they break easily and that sucks.
yeah. They don't
But it
store
was so
well. Yeah,
it's so satisfying. Like just you close it, you click it, you open it up, you just peel the CD out.
yep,
I miss that.
yeah.
Maybe we'll make CDs for this run.
I actually right over here. I have I can't do this in the camera. I have my CD player up here, and actually, which row is it? Oh, CDs are stacked. I suck at this. CDs are stacked right here. I was like, man, that is,
I could see. I could see him.
yeah, yeah,
I could barely see him, but I could see him.
yeah. I got like I mean, for a period of time before we moved down here, I was on like the Buy Nothing groups. I don't know if you've heard of those on like Facebook and everything. People were like, "Oh, I'm giving away all these CDs. I'll take them. Like, I'm just gonna
I'm
go
there.
through them and like, pick and choose." And let me tell you, there's a
Right.
lot of Dave Matthews Band CDs that nobody wants. Apparently, it was hilarious.
I like Dave Matthews Band. I know it's like funny. It's like have you
Yeah.
ever seen the meme where the guy's dancing and it's like he has no songs where he needs to be going this hard?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But I can vibe with a lot of their music. It's so good. They're so talented.
Yeah. No, I fully agree with that. It's just funny because like those
The
and
90s.
yeah, the '90s bands just there's
Yep,
so many albums that just nobody wanted, but they're on some thrift store shelf right now.
for sure.
Yeah,
And like the time period of the 90s, like in the trends and the aesthetics, like that I associate Dave Matthews Band with, like just aren't around anymore. Like
yeah,
I forget what it's called, but like they have that like it's like a coffee shop kind of vibe from the 90s. It was like a trend on TikTok a while ago. I forget what it's called, but
yeah,
that's what I associate them with. Like you're gonna hear them in a Starbucks in like back in the 90s or something, or some like other off brand of Starbucks.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm hitting the age where it's like, man, I go to the grocery store and all these songs slap. Oh shoot, I'm getting old.
No shame in it.
No shame, no shame. Um, I'm trying to think. So Jersey Fresh. Let's come back to that real quick. Um,
Yes.
coming out on May 30th. Um, is there something that in this you hope that fans take away? Like the sit down with it. Obviously, you've composed this story and collection in a certain form. Is there anything specific that you're like, man, internally this is where I was. I'd love for them to experience that.
Um, yeah, and I feel like the album speaks for itself in that aspect. Like I feel like the past 5 years I've collected certain feelings and emotions and wrote these songs. And like one of the songs is like about my cat being my best friend during the pandemic. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I hope people like listen to this and they're like, yo, this is this is kind of different. But like it also bops at the same time. Like stuff like that, like little nuances. It's like
Yeah.
um apart from that, I want like the name Jersey Fresh was inspired by of course the vowelless aspect of it because we're friend circle. We
Yeah.
omitted the vowels because it matched the aesthetic of friend circle. It's like four
Yeah.
letters,
Very
two
on
words.
on brand. Yeah.
Yeah. And the whole concept of Jersey Fresh from being from New Jersey is about how our produce is always Jersey fresh. It's
Yeah,
like some of the best produce in the country.
of course.
We wanted to take that and associate it with our band in the sense that we were from New Jersey. We're from South Jersey, which is a rural area known for its produce.
Yeah,
Like we're from like the band is technically based from like Vineland, and like that's where like Welch's grape juice was founded.
yep,
So what we wanted from that, what I wanted from that personally, is for people to recognize like, hey, there can be art from corners of the world that are pretty much not relevant
yep,
in terms of like music. Like, not saying that there aren't talented, great artists from South Jersey. It's just, nothing is here that would contribute to a music career like you could find in like Los Angeles, New York, or Nashville.
understood. Right. Yeah, I
That
mean,
was
there's
that was the
always
mentality.
there's just there's a lot of bands and a lot of artists, but it's not like in Jersey. You either have to hit a big city or you're just local forever, I guess.
Did we record in Nashville now, and like the difference between here and there, it's staggering.
Yeah.
Everyone down there is doing the same shit, and they're all grinding, and there's so many talented people, and there's always somebody that's better
Yeah.
or more experienced, and that's just a part of the fun of it. Like you get to meet and connect with people and just like network and talk and hear like the stories of these other artists, and it's just such a different vibe than it is down here,
Yeah.
up here, down here in South Jersey,
Right,
up
right.
in New Jersey,
Yeah.
down here.
Down here in Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's man, I have a Wawa thermos I keep at work, and it's just like everyone's like Wawa. We're actually
I
getting one.
love
We're getting one
where
about 20 minutes south. I'm in Lexington, Kentucky.
Lexington, yeah, Kentucky.
Yes.
No way.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
There's no Wawas out there, huh?
There's no, dude. There's not even
I'm
sheets.
so sorry,
It's not
bro.
even sheets, dude, and it kills me.
What?
Yeah, I
What do
know.
you do? Like when you want a gas station treat, like what do you do?
What do I do? Cry, I think. There's, bro, you
Fair
cannot,
answer.
you cannot get any. What is it? I guess the closest that I've probably had, and it's not phenomenal, would be some sort of Penn Station hoagie. If you've ever had those, but that's
I have no idea.
yeah.
Like you don't get you just live down there without Hoagie Fest and Siptopia, bro.
Yeah, raw dogging it, honestly.
Raw dogging life without a Wawa is so funny.
Yeah, but it's going in Nicholasville, south of us, which is like 20 minutes or so, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm driving to Wawa. Like,
Absolutely.
actually 20. I think it's supposed to open in September because I was going to go to the ribbon cutting last June, I think it was the groundbreaking ribbon cutting.
I was gonna make a joke. You gotta like form a line, like a band's playing a show there.
Yeah,
Wait outside Wawa.
honestly, yeah. What the fuck is up, Wawa? The
Hey, I'm going to
Denny's.
get gas. I'll be back in an
Yeah.
hour. Go down the Wawa.
Got the Waffle House, got the Little
Ooh,
Caesars.
That is one thing we don't have is Waffle House.
Yeah.
And I love Waffle House. So good.
Yeah, it's solid,
It's not a
man.
Waffle House. It's a Waffle Home.
What do we... Man, I haven't thought about it. I mean, I feel like we just end up getting because ironically we were buying like the washer and dryer when we got here, and the guy was from the sales guy somehow was from Connecticut. We were like, all right, like you're from the Northeast, you know what's up. And he, we're from Philly, and he's like, oh man, I love a good Philly cheesesteak. And we're like, okay, you know what a real one is because nobody else here does. Where can we find a good one? And he just shakes his head. He's like,
That's so defeating.
Don't. It's like
That's so defeating.
the most, yeah. So anytime we're up that way, it's just like, yep, stop at something and
stock up on your cheesesteaks, boys.
Yeah, I mean, dude, even it's weird. Even like the craft beer, it's just so mid. I mean, granted, it's bourbon country, so like I can't complain there. But the craft beer, I'd just like to have something like Tired Hands or something up there. That's just good. And here
I'm a craft beer fan. I also am a shitty beer fan.
Yeah.
With that being said, Miller Lights, I love.
Miller's, yeah.
And like people not people, but like I've met people who are like, "Ew, would you drink them?" Like sometimes they don't just want a shitty beer, bro.
Oh,
Like
dude, I actively stock PBRs at my house. I
I
will
love that. See,
kill
solid.
PBRs. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need that
You
shitty
can't,
beer.
I feel like you can't beat, the 16-ounce can of just glory.
Exactly.
Yeah. The tall boy.
Oh boy, the natty daddies.
Yeah.
No, I don't go that far. I don't go that far.
Natty dad. Hey, look, if it's there, and there's no other choice, maybe.
Would I drink it? Probably. Would I regret it the next day? Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
probably. Yeah. Same answer. Um,
Fair.
all right. Well, this has been fun, dude.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else I
Oh, the
missed?
promotional.
Well, yeah, promotional, anything else I missed, like what's coming up?
So the new album JRSY FRSH is going to be out May 30th. You can listen to our singles Forever, Late Nights, Nice Guy, and Dream Guest right now. Um, Catch us on tour this summer with Cheer Up Dusty and Fluorescence and certain dates.
Yes.
And yeah, give us a follow on social media. Friend Circle at Friend Circle.
No vowels.
No vowels.
No
Yes, the
vowels.
most important part.
If I say it here, I don't have to say it in the intro outro, but like all that's going to be in the bio, song description, music description, YouTube podcast, whatever, all that good stuff. You know where to find it down underneath the video you're watching.
Down in the fun part that I hate to read.
Yeah, you bet. Everyone ignores it, but
Yep, too long. Didn't read.
all the links, find them there. Sweet. Well, thank you for doing this, dude. That's been good to
Dude,
catch up.
fuck yeah.
We'll be in touch. A big thank you to Zac for sitting down and taking the time to catch up and talk all things Friend Circle. I swear we probably stayed on this specific call talking about life and really further details about starting the label and strategies and all that, like an hour beyond everything that you heard on this episode, which was really neat. Zac is a very down to earth dude, and I love all the Friend Circle guys. Do not miss Friend Circle's new album, JRSY FRSH, coming out tomorrow, May 30th, 2025, on all streaming platforms. Personally, I think the new sound is simply a continuation of growth of a band that you've loved for years, and am very stoked to see what listeners think of it. You can find all the information about Friend Circle in the bio on Dear Untitled's website or in the description of the episode on the platform you're hearing us on. Go check the band out and show them some love. Tell them we sent you. If you liked what you see on the channel, as always, a like, a comment, or a follow on your platform of choice helps a ton. I read comments on all platforms, Spotify, YouTube, and socials, so if there's anything you want to say or any questions for the band, let me know, and we'll get you in touch. You are all legends for the support, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen and show up every week. Until next time, I'm Nick Beardsley, saying stay safe and keep rocking.